Flame Fate is in full swing right now, and the Arc-Tempered Duna is the monster to beat. Right now, this is the hardest monster in the game. It is a level 8 monster with the Arc-Tempered modifiers on it. It just means it's going to hit a little bit harder, swing a little bit faster, and has some slightly new moves that change a little bit from the original Duna fight. Today's video is going to be me hunting this magnificent beast with a couple friends I picked up in a random SOS group. If you guys like this content, please consider subscribing for more. I have a lot of Monster Hunter stuff. Check out my Monster Hunter guide. I have a whole playlist with lots of tips and tricks, things you may think you know, things you might not have learned at all. The one thing I love about this game is that I am never continuing to be amazed by it and all the cool features and shortcuts and movesets that are available. So if you're like me and you're an absolute fan of this game, well, you have come to the right place. So I am a sword and shield main. Definitely not the most offensive friendly guy. I think there's a lot of risk and reward with sword and shield, particularly with the Arc-Tempered Duna fight because of its one-shot kill potential. The Arc-Tempered Duna does a lot of water-based attacks, which can create some really nasty debuffs for you, which cause you to take more damage, and that's what sets up that kind of one-shot kill potential. Now, in my opinion, this fight is really, really all about manipulating the monster such that he's facing you. And I know a lot of people like the kind of age-old way of hit a monster in the butt, right? You go around in the back, you kind of hit him in the butt, you do your dodge roll, you hit him in the butt, rinse and repeat. And that is a pretty tried and true formula for success in Monster Hunter. Pretty much any Monster Hunter game has this. But Arc-Tempered Duna has these really long translucent scales that run basically down its entire body, unfortunately covering most of its tail, its rear legs, its back, and its butt. And it kind of forces you to either just take a massive damage penalty because you're basically breaking through that armor, or in the case of sword and shield, I like to be up close and personal anyway, you got to get right in this dude's face. So if you're looking to do some damage on it, it's going to have to be in the front, the face, the neck area, the chest, and then both front legs. Now, eventually this monster will shed that protective coat, at which time it is basically just weapons free. Everybody can go nuts from any direction, and you can actually score some nice leg breaks and tail breaks at that point as well. But the reality is that is a very, very limited time, typically happening towards the end of the fight. And you're not going to be able to score a significant amount of success there. So, in my opinion, the role of the sword and shield guy is to be the official, unofficial tank. I want to be up close and personal. I want this enemy hitting me, focusing on me, for a couple reasons. One, obviously, as I just mentioned, it has that protective layer that's kind of covering its body. But two, and more importantly, I want to be able to control this fight. My play style is basically to try to get as many power clashes as I can. I want to be up close and personal, and I want to get hit, and I want to time when I get hit so that I can pull off those perfect blocks to do massive damage and try to get some stun damage. And additionally, my trinkets, and you see them proccing constantly on the right-hand side of the screen, my trinket set is designed in such a way that I get more damage as I am able to block them. So, for me, I want to get hit. Your play style might be a little bit different, but that's how I play. I will say, though, as I said at the beginning of this video, Sword and Shield is definitely not going to win the war in terms of just insane DPS. It is a constant burn of damage. You'll see constant low numbers, 40s, 50s. When I pull off a Spinning Reaper, sometimes you'll see it trickle into the 100s. You do some good break damage. I think I've got a couple breaks of north of 500-600 damage, which is really, really nice. But the reality is you're going to constantly be doing like a low, constant amount of damage. And I like this particular play style of Sword and Shield because it is very engaging. In that sense, there's a rhythm here of attack, counterattack, attack, counterattack, and timing those perfect blocks. You know, going back to my Dark Souls days and my Sekiro days, it comes in handy because I have that timing down for the most part. But you will see when I get hit, man, do I get hit. And I got to basically mount up on a good old zippy and do a couple loops, chug some mega potions, and then, you know, probably use a whetstone at that point because I'm out of the fight anyway, and then re-engage. All right, so that's just kind of my overarching strategy here, but let's talk about some of the moves specifically that make this boss fight kind of nasty. And that's the first one right there. A lot of times, Arc-Tempered Duna is going to leave the battleground. He's going to just go out of the play area entirely. And when he does that, you have to be very cognizant, because when he re-engages in the fight, he's going to do a massive amount of splash damage to everything. And those waves, they're not just aesthetics, they do hurt. And this monster is trying to push you into a corner. You will see a significant amount of sweeping attacks where he lunges forward with both his left and right arms. You will see a significant amount of pushing attacks where he lunges off of his back legs and pushes you in a direction. And you will see a lot of body slams. Body slams, one where his back legs are still on the ground and he just basically puffs up his chest and flops forward. And then the grand slam where he completely leaves the ground and drops down, and that is definitely the one-shot kill that you have to be very, very cognizant of. So as you're working through this fight, keep in mind that he is going to be pushing you. You're most likely, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 phases, depending on how the fight goes, you will always be fighting in water, which is a disadvantage to you because of his sheer amount of wave attacks and pushing back. If you can ever get this monster off the water and you can get him on ground, there's a couple marsh areas specifically through the riverbed and the later stages of the fight where you might be able to get him out of the water. I highly recommend you do that. It will make this fight significantly easier. That water will constantly push you around. It will constantly test your metal. It will push your stamina back. It will put on that really nasty debuff I was telling you about. And it's hard to see. I mean, that's how the other part is. So it is like a king of distraction. I think between the veil that's on his body and between the various attacks that you're going to see him try to kind of coat you with in the water, I almost feel like you're fighting the tidal wave. And I love the design of that specifically because it is a very unique fight in that way. Most of the other fights, you can kind of see it coming. You can kind of engage and kind of pick where you want to engage. Because of this monster's insanely massive hitbox and massive body size, you are going to be slip sliding, pushed around all over the place. It's like you are fighting in a typhoon. And I'm sure that's exactly what the designers at Capcom was going for, because it feels like that. And this is a very, very movement-heavy fight. If you're somebody who likes to kind of stay on the periphery with ranged weapons, you may have difficulty with this fight judging your range, specifically because of how much he moves, and you're going to want to, again, try to hit those front legs and the front face of its body rather than everything else. So kind of keep that in mind. Now, the one thing that we do have going for us in this fight, the way it is staged right now, there are 3 and potentially a 4th really great environmental hazards that you can use to your advantage. They're very, very easy to spot because the monster walks right under them and stops. I swear this was almost like a showcase fight where they're like, hey, we have this really cool rock slide feature over by the bottom of this waterfall. It's a beautiful scene. The rocks are going to come down, crushing the monster, doing massive damage, north of 15,000 damage, right? And we're talking significant damage. And then the tidal wave is going to push the monster all the way on the other side of the map, and you with him, and you're going to go sailing down, and then you're going to basically fight on this rocky area. It's like something out of a movie. It's very, very picturesque. But you're going to want to make sure to hit that, and that will always occur at the beginning of the second phase. That monster will always go under that waterfall, and you will always be able to score a quick hit. Now, if you're good enough, and if you're Sword and Board main and you're soloing, you're probably not that. You're not going to be able to do it. But if you can remove his protective armor before you get down to that second phase, that hit is going to do even more damage, and it's going to really, really turn the tide of this fight. I think in this fight, I want to say it's like a 15-minute fight. I have done this fight in less than 6 minutes because of people with insane offense getting that massive damage with basically an unarmored body. So keep that in mind. Environmental, at least in the second phase, is very, very powerful. You'll see another environmental when he transitions. This is a rock slide as he goes through a river. A lot of people like to pull this one early, and I've been playing a lot of pickup groups, and I'm not sure why. It does more damage if the rocks actually physically fall on him. You can pull the rocks early, and he'll basically swim into them and basically hit his nose on them, and he'll do some damage that way. That will pop him out of the water and engage that second phase. However, I recommend timing your shot a little bit more so the rocks actually fall on his back. That will do almost triple damage at that point, and it'll knock him out as well. If you elect, for whatever reason, not to engage that, he will completely bypass this entire zone, and he will go to the third zone where there is basically like a rock trap, a vine trap that he parks under. There's also a Rathalos in the area, which is really, really nice. If you have some lure pods, you can pull them over there as well. But those are the 3 big environmental ones. There's a 4th one, but you have to use barrel bombs to destroy some of the scenery to kind of make it work. He doesn't always go in that direction, and I mean, you could do it. I guess that's like a true min-max type play style, but I would stick to those 3. They're very, very easy to spot, and it's going to reduce the enemy's health by about 40%, which is awesome. It's going to give you a significant leg up. All right, so back to some of the fighting mechanics as you've seen me working through this. Again, for Sword and Shield guy, the plan is stand in front of him, control that combat, control that fight. When he does the wave attacks, be cognizant that the wave attacks don't always necessarily cause numbered damage to you, but it does push you back. It will reduce your stamina, and it can start to apply that buff that you see. And then sometimes my yellow stamina bar will turn blue. When it turns blue, I'm obviously getting ready to take a lot more damage. You'll see the timer at the top left corner of your screen. There have been times that I have just said, you know what, I'm not feeling it, and I basically just mount Zippy and I do figure 8s around it until that timer runs down. You can do that as well, or just be cognizant when you're in that kind of like blue stamina zone, you're going to take some serious shots. And you can see here, and a lot of times, I'm even turtling up when I get hit, and I'm still losing anywhere from a third to a half of my health on some of these really powerful attacks. And you can also see the waves kind of pushing me back, which is why I said earlier, this fight is all about kind of forcing the monster into a place you want, and that's why fighting him on solid ground is preferably possible. Now, for me, I'm trying to get up front of him. I'm trying to hit my offensive guards. I'm trying to hit all my guard boosts to get a little bit more damage going. And I think that is a much more successful way to fight. But I could see other play styles where you maybe want to take a little bit more cautious approach and kind of stand off it as like 11 and 2 o'clock. So not dead on, but kind of off on the sides, because those 2 front legs are going to be open for you the entire time. Now, as this fight starts to wrap up, the monster will become a little bit more enraged. He will start to do a lot more chain attacks. So early on, it's a very basic tempo. It's hit, kind of pause. He might do that relocation slide where he dives forward from one area to another. But it's a very controlled tempo. Towards the end of the fight, he gets a lot more fast and loose. He gets a lot more aggressive and reckless. And that's where you start to run into trouble. Again, he is funneling you into corners. He is pushing you into a corner with his tacks. With his massive body size, he's pushing you in. Here's that rock, by the way. I want to point this out. My teammate pulls it too early. I think he pulls it too early. You'll see the monster coming there. I don't know why he does that. That was a significantly reduced amount of damage we could have taken. So that's the environmental trap I'm talking about. Let's keep that in mind. All right, so as this fight wraps up, because it's getting close to the end, keep in mind, this guy's going to try to push you into a corner. Towards the last phases of the fight, he's going to get significantly more wild with a lot more flips and barrel rolls and pushes, and that is where, if you are not guarding and you're not turtling up, you are going to pay the price, and you're going to die very, very quickly. So keep that in mind, that even if you think you're kind of winning, he has the ability to kind of go goofy very, very rapidly, push you in a direction you might not want to be, and you get stuck in the corner. All in all, this was a phenomenal fight. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite armor sets in the game, and I love this. This is a very epic fight. I think it's a great kind of set-piece fight as you get to work through all the environmental tricks and traps, and I love the water effects and all the particles and just kind of fighting against the ocean. It's very, very well done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking with me all the way to the end. Subscribe for more content, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.